Most mornings don't start with energy. They start with weight. You open your eyes, and before you even move, your chest feels tight. Not panic, just heaviness. Another day, another list, another version of yourself you hoped you'd be by now, but aren't. You lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling. Your body feels tired, even if you slept. Your mind feels loud, even if the room is quiet. And the first thought isn't hope. It's something like, I don't have it today. That feeling doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. A lot of people start their day like this. They just don't talk about it. They get up anyway. They brush their teeth. They answer messages. They smile when they're supposed to. But inside, there's this quiet pressure. Like life is asking something from them. And they're not sure they have it to give. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. And if messages like this make you feel a little less alone, you might want to stay connected here. This space exists for mornings like that. There was a season in my life where mornings felt like a test I kept failing. The alarm would go off. Not loud, just enough to remind me that time was moving again. And immediately, my mind would start negotiating. Just a few more minutes. You worked hard yesterday. Today can be lighter. Tomorrow you'll do better. Those thoughts sounded kind. They sounded reasonable. They sounded like they were on my side. But slowly, quietly, they were costing me everything. Because every time I listened to them, the day would slip away just a little more. Not in a dramatic way. No big crash. Just small delays. A task pushed to later. A promise broken softly. A goal postponed without a date. And at night, when things finally slowed down, a different feeling would show up. Regret. Not loud regret. Not shame. Just that dull question. Why do I keep doing this to myself? That question can sit with you for years if you let it. I remember one morning very clearly. It was cold. Not movie scene cold. Just uncomfortable enough to make staying in bed feel like the right choice. I had something important to do that day. Nothing exciting. Nothing anyone would clap for. Just something I said I would do. And lying there, half awake, I felt two versions of myself pulling in opposite directions. One wanted comfort, warmth, silence. The other wanted change. Not a big change, just progress. And for a moment, I saw something clearly. Both voices sounded like me, but only one of them was taking me anywhere. That's the part nobody really explains. The voice that wants comfort doesn't sound evil. It doesn't yell. It doesn't threaten. It sounds caring, protective, almost loving. But it always wants today to feel easier, even if tomorrow becomes harder. So I asked myself a question that morning. Not a deep one, not a smart one, just an honest one. If I listen to this voice again, where does it take me? I already knew the answer. Same place as always. So I did something small. I didn't change my life. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel motivated. I just stood up. That was it. No speech in my head. No hype. No fire. Just feet on the floor. And something shifted. Not outside. Inside. Because for the first time in a while, I didn't wait to feel ready. I acted while I still felt tired. That moment didn't fix everything. But it showed me something important. My feelings were loud, but they weren't in charge. A lot of people think discipline is about being hard on yourself. It's not. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about noticing that the part of you that wants to stay safe and the part of you that wants to grow are not the same part. And they will never want the same things. Growth feels uncertain. Comfort feels familiar. And when life already feels heavy, familiar feels tempting. That's why so many good people feel stuck. Not lazy, not broken, just tired of fighting themselves. If that's you, hear this clearly. You are not behind because you don't care. You're behind because you've been listening to the part of you that's scared of being uncomfortable. And that part learned its job a long time ago. It learned to keep you safe, to avoid pain, to avoid failure, to avoid disappointment. But safety and growth don't live in the same place. There's a quiet strength that shows up when you stop waiting to feel different and start moving while you still feel the same. That strength doesn't shout. It doesn't post quotes. It doesn't announce itself. It just shows up again and again on days that feel ordinary and heavy. This channel exists for people in that space. Not the loud wins. The quiet ones. The mornings where you choose to try again, even when your feelings tell you not to. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about why relying on motivation keeps people stuck and what actually helps when the feeling never comes. For now, just sit with this. You don't need a new personality. You don't need more hype. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need to stop letting tired feelings make long-term decisions. That's where change really begins. Now that we are about to move on to the next chapter of this journey, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, like, share, and comment to support our growth. There comes a point where you start to notice a pattern, not in a dramatic way, just quietly. You get excited about something, a plan, an idea, a fresh start. For a few days, you feel good, focused, hopeful. Then life presses back. You wake up tired. Something goes wrong. Someone disappoints you. You miss a day, and suddenly, the feeling is gone. Not just motivation, belief. And a voice shows up that sounds very calm and very sure. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe you need to rest first. Maybe this just isn't meant for you. That voice doesn't feel like fear. It feels like wisdom. But most of the time, it's not telling the truth. Feelings are powerful, but they are not reliable. They react to sleep, to stress, to hunger, to what happened 5 minutes ago. They change with the weather, with a comment, with a memory. If you let feelings decide what you do, your life will move in circles. I learned this watching someone I cared about deeply. They talked about a dream they had. Not loudly, not to impress anyone, just quietly, like it mattered. They would start strong, write for a few days, work late, make progress. Then they would stop, not because they failed, not because they couldn't do it. They just didn't feel it anymore. Weeks would pass, then months. And every time they started again, the gap felt bigger, heavier. The dream didn't die. That's the sad part. It stayed alive, just out of reach. What wore them down wasn't failure. It was waiting to feel ready again. That's what feelings do when they run the show. They promise relief now and quietly steal your future later. There was another person I watched take a different path. They weren't more talented. They weren't more confident. They were tired too. But they made a simple decision. They chose a time. They chose a task. And they showed up whether the feeling was there or not. Some days the work was bad. Some days it felt pointless. They kept going anyway. And something changed over time. Not suddenly. Not magically. But slowly, the noise inside them got quieter. The voice that said skip today lost some of its power. Because it was no longer being obeyed. Here's something most people never hear. You don't defeat feelings by fighting them. You defeat them by not letting them vote. You can feel tired and still act. You can feel unsure and still move forward. You can feel unready and still keep your word. That's not pretending the feelings aren't there. That's choosing who leads. If this idea is hitting close to home, you're exactly who this space is for. And if staying connected here helps you think more clearly on days like this, you're welcome to stay. There's also something freeing in admitting this. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel sure. Waiting for those feelings is a trap, because they come after action, not before it. People who change their lives don't wake up different. They build systems so they don't have to decide every day. They remove choice from moments where feelings usually win. They set routines that carry them forward even when their mind wants to pull them back. Not because they're strict, because they're tired of starting over. And there's a quiet peace that comes with that. When you stop asking, do I feel like doing this? And start asking, what did I decide when I was thinking clearly? That question will save you on hard days. Because your clearest self doesn't show up when you're exhausted. It shows up when you planned ahead. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about what actually keeps you going when life doesn't slow down and feelings don't get quieter. Not motivation, not pressure, something steadier, something that lasts. And that's becoming someone you can trust. There's a quiet moment most people don't talk about. It's not in the morning. It's not during the grind. It's at night, when everything finally slows down, when the noise fades, when you're alone with yourself. That's when you remember what you said you'd do today and what you didn't. And in that moment, nobody is judging you. No one is watching. It's just you. That's where trust is built or broken. Not with other people, with yourself. If messages like this feel like someone finally understands the quiet parts of your life, you might want to stay connected here. This channel exists for moments like this, the ones no one sees. Most people think the reward of discipline is success, money, results, proof. But the real reward comes much earlier. It's the moment you realize you don't have to argue with yourself anymore. Because when you keep showing up, even badly, even tired, something inside you settles. You stop making promises you don't intend to keep. You stop starting over every Monday. You stop needing hype to move forward. You become steady. And steady people change their lives. Not fast, not loudly, but for real. There was a time when I thought discipline meant forcing myself to feel different. Stronger, more confident, more motivated. That never worked. What worked was simpler. I stopped asking myself how I felt. And I started asking who I wanted to be. Not someday. Today. When the alarm went off, I didn't need courage. I needed honesty. When the work felt heavy, I didn't need inspiration. I needed respect for my own word. That's when things shifted. Not because life got easier, but because I stopped making my life harder by breaking trust with myself. If you've been tired of starting over, tired of feeling like you're always behind, tired of wondering why effort never seems to stick, you're not broken. You've just been trying to build a future on feelings that change every day. And if this message feels like it's speaking directly to you, staying connected here might help more than you think. Not because we have answers, but because you don't have to walk this part alone. Here's the truth most people don't hear enough. You don't need to do everything right. You just need to stop quitting on yourself. You don't need perfect days. You need honest ones. Days where you do what you said you'd do, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. That's how identity is built. Not through big promises, through small follow-through. And over time, something powerful happens. You start to believe yourself again. Not because you tell yourself nice things, but because you've seen the evidence. You showed up. You stayed. You didn't walk away. That kind of belief is quiet, but it's strong. And it carries into everything. Your work, your faith, your relationships, the way you see yourself when no one else is around. This is how change actually lasts. One decision, one kept promise, one ordinary day at a time. If you want more messages like this, not loud, not perfect, just honest, subscribing helps this channel grow and helps more people hear words they might need on hard days. And tonight, when things get quiet again, ask yourself just one thing. What is one small thing I can honor tomorrow, even if I don't feel like it? Do that, then do it again. That's how you become someone you can trust. That's how you change your life. We will wrap it up with this. The choice that changes everything. There's a quiet moment that comes after everything you've heard so far. Not excitement, not pressure, just understanding. Understanding that the fight you've been in was never really with life, or with people, or with timing. It was with the voice inside you that kept saying, not today. And now you see it clearly. Giving up was never the problem. Listening to tired feelings as if they were truth was. You've learned something important here. Feelings are real. They matter. But they are not leaders. They come and go. They rise and fall. They change with sleep, stress, and seasons. Plans, commitments, small daily decisions. Those are what build a life. Not overnight. Not perfectly. But steadily. And here's the part I want you to hold on to. You don't need to win every day. You just need to stop walking away from yourself. You will have days where you move slowly. Days where you doubt. Days where you feel tired again. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're still human. What matters is this. When you fall behind, you don't quit. When you miss a day, you don't disappear. When it gets hard, you don't tell yourself the story that it's over. You start again. Quietly. Honestly. Without drama. Because giving up is not an option. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because you finally understand what's at stake. Your trust in yourself. Your future peace. Your sense of becoming someone you respect. That's the real lesson here. Not hustle. Not pressure. Not perfection. Consistency with compassion. Discipline without self-hate. Faith that doesn't shout, but shows up. If you're still here listening, take a moment. Breathe. And remember this. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are just at the point where change asks for commitment instead of comfort. And you are capable of that, one small decision at a time. If this story spoke to you, if it felt like it understood something you've been carrying quietly, please support this channel by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. It helps these messages reach people who need them on hard days. And I'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you're watching from and what this message meant to you in the comments. Your words help build this community and remind others they're not alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying. And whatever tomorrow looks like, don't give up on yourself. Just keep going.